What do you do? What do you do when the pressure starts to build up inside of you? In my experience, and as the evidence shows, most people do not have a system that they're using to channel pressure that builds up inside of them into productive output. That makes it so that we have a negative association with things like pressure. If we don't know what to do with pressure when it builds up, then it starts to feel like a problem. Another way to think of it is calories. Calories are simply another word for energy. They're one unit of measurement of energy. And when the body doesn't have enough activity that it participates in to consume, to productively use and channel the calories available to it, those get stored. And when there's too much, that becomes something toxic. Excessive energy, therefore, in whatever form it takes, whether it's physical energy, emotional energy, mental energy, financial energy, social energy, or moral energy, excessive energy is by definition toxic energy. Energy, whether calories or dollars or the kind of pressure that we feel on the inside, that we identify with when we think of, when we ask ourselves the question this episode started out with, is experienced as negative. Now, many of us have never had so much money that we could imagine what it would be like to have too much money. But when you talk to people who have had so much money that they didn't know what to do with it, they too will attest to the toxic nature of having too much of that form of energy. So what's the diagnosis? Now what's the prescription? The diagnosis is too much energy, too much pressure. So much that we don't know what to do with it. So much that we feel actually oppressed by what's otherwise normally a gift. That is energy. Just think about what it's like to have really big feelings, what it's like to have too many thoughts. These are also forms of excess energy. And so what I want us all together to think about is what it would look like if we had a system by which we could discharge, unload, unpack, express, spend, use, and productively channel the energy that builds up inside of us as a form of thought, as a form of feeling, and even as a form of things like nervous jitters when we can't stop tapping our legs or fiddling with our pen. How much better life would feel if there was less stagnation, less accumulation, less congestion, and more of a constant flow of energy, ideas, feelings, thoughts, money, people, in, as well as a system for distilling, refining, maturing, sophisticating them, and then putting them back out into the world in their upgraded